What's good, everyone? Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we're going to be talking about, should you prioritize aesthetics or strength? Looking good or being stronger and having more mass? So recently I was talking to one of my friends and we got into, I don't even know how we got to this topic, but he was basically saying it's better to be strong and have more size and be able to lift more. And I was saying on the other end, it's better to be more aesthetic and lean and have a better physique, a more balanced physique. And I think there's pros and cons to both, and it kind of depends on who you are and what you want to do and how long you've been in the gym. But I think for the majority of people, training for aesthetics would be better, especially for men and younger men. Most of them go to the gym because they want to look better. They want to be healthier maybe. And training for aesthetics, without a doubt, is going to make you healthier. It's going to make you look a lot better than if you're training solely for strength. And aesthetics is a secondary kind of thing. So there's a couple key differences. When you're training for aesthetics, your main goals are going to be, you want to be lean, you want to have a balanced physique, you want good proportions, and you're going to be a little bit healthier when you're training for aesthetics, as long as you're not getting too lean and like sub 8% body fat. And when you're training for strength, it's going to be a little bit different because you're just trying to get the strongest lift. You're not really prioritizing how lean you are, how good you look. It's more so about how much you weigh, how much you can pick up. It's training for strength would be better for some people. In some cases, like if you're working like in construction or you're a power lifter or you have like a job that's physically demanding where you need to be strong for it. But for the majority of people that are going to the gym, training for aesthetics will always be better because you're going to look better, you're going to be healthier, you're going to feel better. You're going to get more women. Women would prefer if you're lean rather than over like 18% body fat. Whereas strength, you need to have more body fat. When you're training for aesthetics, your physique is going to be a little bit leaner and you're going to be better looking. So you can decide, would you rather be a Chad who's lean or would you rather be a bloated Chud who's in bench like 315 or 405? And it doesn't even matter what you bench, in all honesty. Nobody's going to care outside the gym how much you bench or really kind of how strong you are, because it doesn't really matter. If you look good, you look good. And if you got abs, if you're shredded, if you have good proportions, a big chest, you have wide shoulders and a small waist, that's going to matter so much more than if you can bench 405 or if you're just a massive tank. I mean, it also is kind of like male gaze versus female gaze, where if you're training for strengths, you're going to be a big mass monster. You're going to be super strong, and a lot of guys are going to be like, oh my gosh, that's so cool, that's badass, he's so big, he's so strong. Whereas when you're training for aesthetics, there's going to be a lot more girls who are going to be like, oh my gosh, that looks good, he's so lean, he's so attractive. And sure, there's both guys and girls that like both things. Like there's going to be girls who obviously like a strong guy and be attracted to that, and there's going to be guys who are going to think a guy who's aesthetic is really cool, like David Lade or Jeff Side or someone like that. They're obviously going to get praise from guys too. But the majority of people are going to praise someone for an aesthetic physique rather than a strong physique, just because the strong physique is going to have higher body fat and look obviously a little bit worse than a lean aesthetic physique. And the more aesthetic you are, the more visually pleasing you are to the eye. So it really does depend also on just, do you want to be good looking or do you want to be strong? This is really the question here. Another kind of key difference between the two is what you're going to be training and how your training is going to look. Also, your dieting and your nutrition is going to be a little different. If you're kind of training for strength, you're going to be doing a lot more compound lifts. You're going to be going higher weight. You're going to be maxing out more. You're going to be at a little bit higher risk of injury, which is another reason why training for aesthetics for people that are new to the gym is going to be better for you. Whereas with training for aesthetics, it's going to be more science-based, kind of a little bit higher rep. You're going to be going for hypertrophy. You're going to be trying to get the most muscle growth in certain areas. You're going to want to balance out your entire physique, get your proportions right, just to look the best that you can. And it doesn't really matter for strength training how you look, so you're not going to be worried about what balances out, how your shoulders are to your waist ratio and all that. Whereas for aesthetics, you're going to want to focus on that, and you're going to want to get that like V taper. And then alongside training, the nutrition is going to be a little bit different. So whenever you're training for aesthetics, you're going to want to be lean. So you're going to want to have lower fat, and you're going to want to eat more kind of whole foods. You're going to need that because you're not going to be eating as much. You're not going to be in a super high bulking phase where you're going to be eating a bunch of calories to get your strength up. And whereas with strength training, you're going to be able to eat more fat, and you're going to be able to eat more non-whole foods, I guess you could say, because you need to eat more, and it's kind of hard to eat a lot of calories with just solely whole foods. Both sides are going to need protein, so that's not like a big deal. Whereas one side needs more protein than another, you both need protein. For aesthetics, you need protein for hypertrophy, you need protein for muscle growth, and with strength, you need protein, obviously, to lift a lot more. So the calories are going to be a little different. It's going to be, for aesthetics, it depends on your maintenance, but you're not going to be in like a big calorie bulk where you're trying to get like a 500 calorie surplus. If anything, if you're bulking, you would go to like 100 to 300 calorie surplus just for like a lean bulk, just to build muscle while maintaining, I guess, your abs, or maintaining a lower body fat where you're not going too high or too over the scale. And you want to be like around, for good aesthetics, I would say anywhere from 8 to 12, 14%. I would say ideal is 10 to 12%. But I mean, if you're 14% and you still have abs, you'll be fine. 8% is pretty lean. It's hard to get there. And anything under 8% is not good to maintain. It's good. It'll be fine to have for a little bit, a couple months maybe. But it's going to be hard to maintain. And unless you're on like performance enhancing drugs or you're not natty, I mean, you really can't maintain it for a long time without feeling, low energy, bad workouts, stuff like that. Whereas with strength training, you're going to be higher body fat. I would say anywhere 20 plus would be ideal for strength training. Most people who are training for strength aren't going to have abs if they're like above 20%. It's going to be a lot harder to get them to show up. And it's not even like you need abs if you're training for strength. All you really are focusing on is how much you're lifting and how strong you are, which is why, like, if you're a power lifter or you are a construction worker who needs to be strong, you're not going to care if you have abs. You're just going to care if you're able to pick up a lot of weight and you're able to move weight. So, I mean, all in all, it really does depend on your lifestyle and who you are. But definitely for the majority of people, training for aesthetics is going to be a lot better for their overall life, their overall future, their overall health, because you're going to be a little bit leaner. You're not going to have as high of a risk of injuring yourself, because when you're lifting a lot more, you have a higher chance of injuring yourself, especially if you don't have proper form, which a lot of newer people to the gym won't have proper form, which is why they should focus on aesthetics more than strength. And sure, you can train for strength and still get aesthetic, and you can train for aesthetics and still get strong. But if you had to prioritize one, whereas you pick aesthetics and looking good over strength and having mass, I would say majority of people should definitely pick the aesthetic physique, simply just to be better looking, be healthier, and pull more girls, I guess. Yeah, you can either be Chad or Chud. You pick. See y'all later.